resources and support that I get. And so I did want to tell just a little bit about my background and how it led me to 10X B&B. I do talk with my hands a lot, so I hope that's okay. But I was very much in the corporate world. And during COVID, while I was still traveling to 7 states with an $8 million a year quota, it didn't quite seem to be as glamorous as it had been. And so I decided that it was time for me to hang up my spurs. But it wasn't that I was quite ready to just stop, I'm just not put together that way. But I did want to put myself into real estate and investing more towards fix and flip. Totally different from any experience that I had ever had. But just like a lot of people, I saw it on TV and I thought, oh, I can do that, no problem. And I had to learn a lot, and it wasn't a matter of me being the one to go in the kitchen and take a hammer and beat the walls out. It was learning about how to have creative financing and how to negotiate with a seller. And it was just a lot to it. And of course, in 2021 and 2022, there was a lot going on with real estate. People were making crazy offers on homes. There'd be 10 cars lined up to make an offer. And I can't speak for everywhere, but I live about an hour north of Atlanta, so I can tell you that's what it was like here. So I did have some success, and I did build relationships with creative finance folks, stagers, photographers. And so when 2023 rolled around, I was reevaluating what this looked and felt like, because what I didn't know as going into this with my success, there's also capital gains tax. And that's a whole nother conversation about when you actually sell that property. And if you don't turn it in a certain amount of time, there's a lot of taxes involved, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So as we get into 2023 and I'm doing my reevaluation, I happened to see a presentation by Sean and Ari about 10X B&B. Now, I didn't watch this presentation just one time and get all gaga over it. I went back and looked and reviewed that several times, and I really felt the commitment that both of them had to the success of others. That's very important to me. And so the more I listened to it, it's like, I think I could take my business model and transition it into this and really do something with it that was in the same category, but not, right? And so I bought into the program and I wrote all my timelines down. So this was August 20th of 2023. So right away, I got onto the Facebook group. I started listening to the town halls. I was going through the modules. I was engaged, right? I wasn't starting and stopping. I was really engaged. So as this is progressing, and I'm going through the modules about the bed flipping and the arbitrage and then ownership, it was that was the process. I was very impressed with the process. Coming from corporate, you learn about process. That's everything, So I was very impressed with that. However, still having on my fix and flip hat, I thought, if I could just find that house, maybe what I want to do is just jump right in the deep end and be that owner and take ownership. So I found this house, called my son, the realtor, said, I want to go look at it. But because I had been going through the modules, I signed up for the B&B IQ reports. right? So what I would like to do, Suzanne, is to show you the BNBIQ report that helped me make a decision, an investment decision. Okay, so can I do that? Can I show you my
Yeah,
screen?
yeah. And while
Okay,
you're doing that, I'm going to mention that right now it's June 2024. So Patricia's been in the program for now 10 months.
right.
You looked at this property, what, about a month into the program? I think you
Yeah.
were talking.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. I didn't waste any time on these modules. I'm telling you, I closed the door to my office and I was in it. And I
Awesome.
realize everybody's at a different unit. Some people still working. They try to watch a module or two when they come home from work, or they got the kids at soccer. I mean, things are going on, right?
Mhm.
But I submerged myself into it. And so I'm really getting into it.
Mhm.
So I took the address after my son and I went to look at this property, and it was an ugly house. It needed love and had been on the market for a couple of months. So when I've got my investment mind going, I'm just like, ooh, this could be good. But I didn't know until I pulled up the BNBIQ report, right? So can you see my screen, Suzanne?
Not yet. No.
Let me go back. Let me go back. Let me see if I go down here. Let me go. Hmm. Can you see it now?
No.
Hmm. Oh,
Maybe go to the little carrot on the bottom, the little arrow that goes
yeah.
up. It's all
All
good.
right. I'm not getting. Let me try it again. Share the screen. And I'm going to, it says choose to share. Can you see it?
Then.
Can you see the
No,
report? No?
no, I don't. Hold on. I'm going to do something on my end.
Okay. Because sometimes for security purposes on Zoom, they want the person that's running it to hand over this, to be able to do that.
Yeah, so I'm sharing. Now I'm going to stop sharing. That should give you a little more leeway. Try it again.
Okay. Darn. Let me try again. Okay. Can you see anything from my screen?
No, we just see you, but
Because I'm trying to show my report and
mhm.
it's not coming up. All right. Well, can I walk through it,
Sure,
Suzanne?
sure.
All right. So this property, when I ran the numbers, and to me, everything's about time versus money, right? And when I looked at the BNBIQ report, what it told me was that the revenue was going to be over $56,000 a year.
Good.
Okay. That the nights that it would be 193 nights. So not all three. It's a very seasonal area, and that the average rate per night was 293. Okay. So I ran the report, and then I knew about how much from my experience with fix and flip, I knew about how much money I was going to have to put into this property. So then I wanted to see, okay, well, if I do that, how long is it going to take me to recover my ROI?
And how much, do you mind me asking? Like some of the questions we like to ask are, what was the property value of the property?
Well, the property value was the property value was 350,000,
Okay,
and I bought it for 200 and something.
great. And then
And
you
the
put how much into it? Because that's just
50.
useful. 50. Great,
I put, I
great.
put 50 into it, right? So already I'm in a good place
Yeah.
already, just from the get-go. Now, when a person goes to buy investment property, and you and I talked about this a little bit, the creative finance, I do not work with banks. And so what they're interested in are the rental comps. They're not so much interested as what that house would sell for versus what I've got to put into it. They want to know how much rental income is that, how, if that's what I'm going to use it for. In other words, it's not my primary residence. It's not a second home. It's going to be classified as a rental. So they're interested on the rental comps, and they're not interested in my W-2. I don't have a W-2. I'm on Social Security. So it makes a difference in how the underwriters are going to look at this property. And because now I had some history with them, it was a lot easier process for me to say. And so by September the 29th, I mean, I started 10X in August, and by the end of September, I've closed.
There you go. So at least we have the property. If we don't have a B&B, I carry property. You can send that to me while you're talking, and then I can bring it up.
Okay, well,
So
yeah,
this is Waleska or Waleska?
Waleska. It's in
Waleska.
North Georgia. It's in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, an hour north of Atlanta.
Okay, really nice.
Okay.
Really nice.
And so now, all right, so if I go, you can't see any of this, can you?
No, just send me your report and I'll pull it up.
Yeah, but now I'm on to the listing.
Oh, okay. Well, you could send me that too.
Well, but I, let me go here and see. I was hoping that I could share my screen. There's something keeping me from sharing my screen.
That's okay. Everyone can see it on you should be able to see my screen as well. I'm on Airbnb right now. And you guys can go onto Airbnb and like it. But so when you're walking us through the property, did you add furniture? You added
Oh,
probably the
okay.
coffee
So
box.
let's talk about that. This place was vacant. It had a table and chairs, it had appliances, it had washer and dryer, but it didn't have any furniture.
So you
So
came in
what
and
did
did
I
the whole
do? I leveraged my relationships. I had already been working with stagers. I did my financing, so now, but I'm going to be able to put furniture in this place, right? Do I want to go out and buy all new furniture? No. So I called up my stager friend, invited her to come up. We took a look at everything. We agreed on the colors and what we would do. And she said, Patricia, I got 2 warehouses. I want you to come down. We're going to pick out the colors. We're going to pick out artwork and decide on drapes and everything else. So I did. And it was wonderful because that was one less time versus money. I'm
Yeah.
going to have mortgage payments to make, right? And
And
so I'm trying to compress what my work is going to be because I'm busy getting these contractors. I've got a deadline and I've got them meeting a deadline because I want to get this thing live. It's my baby.
so when did you go live? So you started the program in August of 23. You bought the property, I believe, in September, and then you went
Right.
live. You went live how?
Actually did not go live now in the midst. Okay, so with the time we get to September, we're now into Q4,
Okay.
fourth quarter, right? And like a lot of people, life happens. And my mother passed away in November. So by January, Sean is giving another presentation about the VIP and Diamond program. Very timely for me because I realized that I needed the one-on-one. I needed
Okay.
to get everything brought together as these guys are finishing the build out and what I wanted done to get it live by April the 15th. That was my deadline that I gave to the builders, that I was giving to my stager on when I needed to have furniture, because now I've got to have photography done. And photography of what I would have used for real estate. He was a real estate photographer, but doing short-term real estate, short-term, it's a different type of photography. It's not the same as if you're trying to sell your home, because you're looking for more of the details, right?
Mhm.
And
Right.
and so by doing that, I've still got a lot of work to do here. But once I went through the presentation that Sean gave on the VIP program, I signed up January the 15th.
Okay.
Okay. So now I've got the one-on-one coaching. If I have a question, I've got someone to call. Price Lab steps in. They're going to help me put all the magic in the pricing. Okay. Now I've got the turnover for cleaners I've got to bring into this. I've got hospitable I've got to bring into this. And by the way, hospitable is great. They have their own town halls on Wednesday during the day so that I can then watch Beth at night in the evening when she has hers. But having the VIP program, this is my brand. This is my baby, and I wanted it to be the best. So when I first launched it in April, I've been booked ever since. Matter of fact, I've got people coming tomorrow, and they are back to back all the way
Beautiful.
through.
So
Okay.
so you launched April 15th. So we're now like, let's say a little bit further, April to May, June, just a little bit more than 2 months. And how much would you say I believe you told me that your B&B IQ report,
It's
you're
spot on.
on track.
Where I come from, they talk about proof of concept. That's the corporate lingo, language they like to use.
Right,
Proof
that
of
it
concept,
works. You want
right?
the experiment,
So
it's
what
like
I
a beta.
was proving to myself
Mhm.
that the B and BIQ report, the accuracy of it, and for me, it's maybe a little bit down here, a little bit up there, but so far it's been accurate. So I'll be curious to see, because it's in a beautiful area. So the fall, I'll be curious to see as it goes. August, I expect it to come down a little bit because the kids are going back to school.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
But as I launched this, and you can't see this right now, but I'll just give you, because this was my first review. It's kind of like my first date,
Oh, good. Yeah, yeah.
And so he says, and I love this one. He says 10 out of 5 stars, excellent location. Pictures,
Wonderful.
pictures don't do the cabin or the surrounding area justice.
Oh my
More
God.
amenities than home, and Patricia uh, was an absolute saint to work with. She gave us times and locations of best places to eat, very responsive and informative. We'll definitely make this trip again, but only if her Airbnb is available.
That's great.
Now, that was my first review. I have a 5-star review. I have 70 amenities. I have 70 photographs. And I also added, which is a little tip I'd like to give folks, they have a special area, Suzanne, for accessibility. And
I see.
accessibility means that you can get in with a wheelchair or walker, and
Mhm.
you have to submit separate pictures for that. And then
Mm.
Airbnb will review them. And it can take several weeks before they come back and say, yes, you've been approved for accessibility. But this can also raise your position.
I think it boosts the algorithm as well. So
Yeah, and the
can you,
algorithm as well.
can,
So that's
can,
what I was showing. If someone puts in Lake Arrowhead, Georgia, and there's two, there's one in California and there's one in Georgia, but mine's not just on the first page, it's the first one
And it's been like that since the get-go, right? So you
from the
really,
get-go.
and
From the
those,
get-go, it's been that
yeah,
way.
yeah, and that's
And
a really beautiful thing to tout because that we
and then
got
on another
the program.
portion
Mhm,
of the listing, which I didn't
mhm.
ask for, but they Airbnb put it there, they make a statement and they say, "This is a rare find. Patricia's property stays booked." I think they said often, it stays booked almost all the time, and it
Yeah,
does.
yeah, it's
And
beautiful.
when you ask about the value, I want to mention this too. The value, yeah, it's the 56K, and I know I'm covered to pay my mortgage and so forth. And when people think about that, when you think about how the rental prices have gone up
Mhm,
and you get ready to do an arbitrage, you
mhm.
may just want to reconsider and look at what your situation is before you jump into doing an arbitrage. Because the mortgage, even though the interest rates are up right now,
Mhm.
you could still be paying less than what you would be if you were doing an arbitrage.
I
Just
agree.
saying.
I agree. And that's
Just
a great point to leave with
just
students.
saying. You may want to
Get
look
it
at
as
that.
an
All
option.
right.
I think that's fantastic. Yeah. Yep.
So the point that I'm making is that we all are in a different place in where we are in our life, where we are in our experience, and
Mhm.
how to leverage relationships. I can't stress that enough. And when to use those relationships to take your business to the next level.
Yeah. And
That
so
was that
on
was the
that
point I
note,
wanted to
I
make.
want to ask you what your next steps are.
Well,
Maybe
my next steps are I have another property in Florida. Now, when my husband and I bought that, we didn't know a thing about midterm or anything. We didn't know all that. But it's only allowed midterm. And from here, it's 8 hours away. Now, could we keep it? Yes, we could. But I think what we're going to do, and I've again talked to my creative finance folks because we already own the home outright. So
Sure.
that's an asset that sits sitting there, right?
Mhm.
And we keep it midterm. But I think what we may do is leverage what we have as an asset in that to buy more property that's North Georgia. That's what we're thinking. So
That's
those
really
are my
cool.
next steps. I
That's
like,
cool.
for me or for us, we prefer ownership because it's a legacy. This is a legacy that can be passed on to our children
Yeah.
and
It only
grandchildren,
increases, it only
right?
increases in value. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it only increases in value.
Yeah.
And from what this house looked like before and what it looks like now, you wouldn't even recognize that it's the same house.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I love getting the great reviews. And I've had families from everywhere. No one that has stayed there is from Georgia. Tomorrow. The people are coming from New Jersey. I go figure.
It's great.
But
Got people from
they're
everywhere. Well, I think that's actually even more of a bonus, right? When you
right.
people that are
They're,
not local and that
right.
ensures they're not coming there to party and what have you.
No,
Yeah.
they're coming from everywhere. I've
Yeah.
had them from
Yeah.
Chicago, Tennessee, Florida. It's been great.
This
It's
is
been great.
wonderful.
Yeah.
So really want to thank you for all you have a lot of wisdom, a lot of insights. You've been able to, I'm sure by everybody who's going to be listening to this video in the future, going to learn a
Hmm.
lot. And it's going to expand your mind and expand some of your options that you may have thought didn't exist, especially around why arbitrage. Maybe you might want to buy something with creative financing as well.
Yeah,
So
just think about it.
yeah,
Think about
yeah,
it. Everybody has different resources and things and what they might be able to do. But yeah, think about it
yeah,
and give it some consideration, is what I'm saying.
absolutely.
give
Absolutely.
it give it some consideration,
Yeah,
but know where you are, and everyone is in a different place as far as risk adversity, where they are with that. So
of
but
course.
I welcome any questions that anyone has for me. I will send you the link to this listing.
Mhm.
Okay, and I will also share with you the BNBIQ report that helped me make this investment decision.
Well, we
So
will actually repost it too on Facebook, so you'll have everything there as a unit. So you'll have the interview here as well as the link to the listing and the BNB IQ report, so you guys can learn from it. Thank you again,
Okay.
Patricia. We so
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thanks for
Thank you
being a
so
part of our
much.
program.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
Bye bye.